it makes me feel bad that I didn't spend one-on-one time with them all these years. And now I'm going to be gone, and I can't do it anymore. And I feel bad about that. But Tim, I'm still in this limbo. I mean, the camping was so weird because it was like normal. Kids were normal. In-laws were a little bit cold at the beginning, but then normal. And so I'm not living at home, but when I go home, it feels normal. It's not allowing me to come to grips with what is going to happen still. You said I didn't realize what's going to happen. I'm sure I don't. This doesn't feel like this is a fake reality too.
That comment comes from a series of conversations I had with a man I'll call Kevin. Over a 3.5-year period, Kevin and I spoke many times after he decided to leave his marriage and family to be with his affair partner. What follows is the story that unfolded during those years. I first met with Kevin and his wife one August after she discovered his affair with a coworker. They came to me hoping to find clarity about what to do next. But as we talked, it became clear that Kevin had already made his decision. Plans had been made, and his mind was set. I encouraged him to be honest with his wife about that, and I spent time with both of them, helping them think through the choices that they would each face in the months ahead. Kevin was honest with me, even when he knew I discouraged his choices. And I was honest with him about what he was likely to face if he went through with them. We seemed to respect that openness, and so I proposed a unique arrangement. I would offer him free phone coaching for as long as he wanted, as long as he allowed me to record our conversations. I didn't know whether his new relationship would last or fall apart. But either way, I believed his story might someday help others understand the real complexities of leaving one life for another. I made 2 promises to Kevin. First, that I would help him grow through whatever choices he made, whether that growth led him back to his family, made him a better partner in this new relationship, or pointed him toward a different kind of change altogether. And second, that if I ever shared his story, I would do it anonymously. Kevin isn't his real name, but every word you hear in this series comes from the real conversations we had over the 3 years after he left. To protect his privacy, many portions of our talks had to be omitted, but the heart of his experience remains. You'll occasionally hear names replaced with subtle sounds to mark who's being mentioned without breaking the story. Kevin's wife will be represented by a piano note. His affair partner by a chime. His son by a guitar tone. And his daughter by a flute note. I hope these cues feel natural and not distracting. One last note. These were phone recordings made some years ago. The audio quality improves as the series goes on, but you might want to listen to this first episode in a quiet setting. I did as much work as I could to clean it up, but it's still a little bit rough, and I apologize for that. This podcast will be released in 4 episodes. This first one covers the early months, right after Kevin left.
Welcome to The Recovery Room, a podcast presented by affairhealing.com.
In this healing place, in this healing place.
Remember, as you listen to these conversations, the name of Kevin's wife will be replaced with the affair partner is, his son is, and his daughter is. My conversations with Kevin started in August, when he moved out of his home. Within 3 months, he would be moving some distance away, but these first comments came from talks we had during the first couple of months while he was still near his wife and children.
I moved out more thoroughly now. I'm staying in a hotel for the time being. It just related to the living situation that's a bit pricey, so is leaving Friday. She's moving out of her apartment, and her lease, she wasn't able to break it, so she's still renting her apartment till November, and she's offered to let me live in her vacant apartment. I'm going to do that because she's told me I don't need to pay her back. that would give me a place to stay that's not going to cost anything. But I tried to listen carefully to what she said about being more conscientious to my kid. I told her I loved her, that I'll always be her dad. She's like, yeah, I know, Dad. We had a good experience. She spent the night with me. We went to dinner. We went to the Disney store. I guess calls it Disneyland Dad or something. Dad feels guilty, so you can ask Dad for everything. But I bought her a few things at the Disney store. We had a good time. I felt like I listened to her. It's all the things I should have been doing all along. Every moment's more precious. I feel like I'm taking that closer to heart. But then this last weekend, Tim, we went camping. I think we mentioned that with you. We had this camping trip planned with another family and their kids. Parents surprised us, and they joined us as well. This was last weekend. And I rented another campsite that was in a different area of the campground. It was actually 4 miles away, and I pitched a tent there, so I didn't spend the night with everybody. I would leave in the evening and go stay in my tent, and came with me to set up my tent. And then again, it gave me an opportunity to speak more candidly with him, tell him I love him. I will be in contact with him. I'm always there. It sounds false. I'm not always there. I'm going to be gone, but in a spiritual way, I'm there for him and I care about him. And he seemed to be open to that. I was worried about his reaction. He's been not talking to me. He hadn't been communicating with me on texts, and I could sense he was angry at me. And I felt like it got over that. We got through that barrier a little bit. It makes me feel bad that I didn't spend one-on-one time with him all these years. And now I'm going to be gone, and I can't do it anymore. And I feel bad about that. But Tim, I'm still in this limbo. The camping was so weird because it was like normal. Kids were normal. In-laws were a little bit cold at the beginning, but then normal. And so I'm not living at home, but when I go home, it feels normal. It's not allowing me to come to grips with what is going to happen still. He said I didn't realize what's going to happen. I'm sure I don't. This doesn't feel like this is a fake reality, too. They want me to come to dinner with them. Sometimes they said it's awkward. Don't come. Or you just take the kids. But then recently they wanted to go to dinner, and I said I didn't. I actually had plans. And she got mad because I didn't go. And she's like, wanted you to go. But I feel like every time I do something, too, it seems like it's the wrong thing to do. Like I either go, that's wrong because they didn't want me to go, it's awkward, or I didn't go, and that was the wrong thing. I've been reading this book about what to say to your children about your divorce. Just started it. It puts things in that perspective. You're co-parents. You're doing something in a cooperative way because you're the parents of these children, and that is normal. And somehow I think she's like, you're leaving.
Yeah.
You're not a co-parent. You're a jerk.
You're going to get that. This isn't fair. From her perspective, it's not fair. You just get to go off and do what you want to do and just expect everything's going to be fine. She wants to make the point it's not fine. And it's not fine to her. She's hurting. And unfortunately, sometimes that pain will come out in a voice of justice that comes as angry to you to make it very clear, no, it's not okay. You can't just expect to trip through life and expect there to be no consequences. So she will sometimes force the consequences. And that's just going to happen more often now than it will later when more healing comes.
Well, yeah. She has said that many times through texts and things. Why do you get this life? You don't have to deal with the kids anymore. Happy life. You don't have to worry about anything anymore. It makes me hate myself. And I don't know what the word is you used last time, but I feel like I pummel myself. My manager was weird because at first she was quite on my side and was trying to explain everything that she thought was wrong with the marriage and why this was a good choice. And she was a friend of mine from graduate school, so we've known each other a long time. But then I felt like she was totally one-sided. Why didn't I take the kids? Why didn't I fight? And so I couldn't take that anymore, and I let her know that there was a reason why this is happening related to an affair. She said, well, this is fine. I still support you. But she said, why don't you just tell HR at this point that at this stage you're not moving with your kids, but we'll reassess after a certain period of time. And she's wanting me to reconcile somehow. My manager has made me tell the story to HR that at this stage I'm moving by myself, but for these reasons, we decided it's better for the family, for the kids to have an uninterrupted year of school. It's too difficult to sell the house. it's better for me to settle in first and then we'll consider moving the family later. But that story has appealed to me. Damn, but maybe that makes sense. Everybody thinks that's a great idea. Why don't you just come, take it easy? It's not a good time for the kids to come. They can come after the end of the next school year. But now I feel like I want that to happen.
You feel like you want what to happen? That maybe they come at the end of the year, they come and join you?
Yeah, too. And she's like, how can you? How can you even imagine that? How are you going to rebuild trust with me when you live? Because, the part with I'm getting a taste of that, and it's not, I mean, you told me this, nothing's changed. I'm still the same person. I'm not instantly happy. Not that wasn't the solution to whatever was going on.
What are those things that, despite your hesitations, despite some of the negatives, why is it a relationship that still has that value to you? You're giving up a lot for.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough question now. I feel like it's less. It was so powerful before, irresistible. There was so much yearning. It made work hard. Now that yearning has been quenched to some extent, I'm beginning to question that. Because we've also had arguments. There's also lack of trust, as you identified before. But I don't know, that appeal was so irresistible, feels less now. But then it makes me feel like a miserable person. I'm hurting her, like I'm just a sequential hurting people as I go down the line, This is another thing I wanted to bring up. She totally does not understand this emotional connection with children, I guess. So this week we had a difficult conversation because she couldn't understand why I'm spending so much time at my house, fixing things, trying to do things for the kids. She doesn't feel like I'm reachable when I'm there. It triggered this huge, I would not say argument, but again, I tried to learn. I could sense it. I saw myself shutting down, and I felt like hanging up the phone, and I forced myself to stay on the line, and it helped. Got through that stage where I normally would have just hung up the phone and just forget it. I'm never going to tell you what I'm doing. I'll just tell you I'm not at my house anymore. That's the easier thing, but I felt like it was productive, but it was a difficult conversation because she can't understand, I think, what I'm trying to do.
When Kevin moved, he moved to a location several time zones away from his family to take a new position with his company. His new partner also moved, although they moved separately and the relationship is still being kept a secret from coworkers. These comments came from a November conversation we had soon after he moved.
I took over old apartment. I moved in to where she used to live. So I spent 1 month living where she was. So it gave me a chance to get my stuff out of the house, get organized, continued to look around for things that she didn't want. She's given me all the photo albums and memories. So we're going to throw them all away. And now I have them here. And actually, when I unpacked into my permanent apartment, I saw things that made me sad, old photos and memories. Mm-hmm. Happy Valentine's book she gave me from, I don't know. There's some that were quite old, some that were pretty recent, just a couple years old. That made me sad, but I have all that. But I liked living in that apartment. The kids came and stayed with me a couple times, would stay the night with me a couple times on the weekend. Came and helped me move furniture. And but as the days got closer to my departure, there was more and more urgency to sign a separation agreement. We decided to do an interim separation agreement. She wanted me to make payments at a certain amount forever till we die. And what if I lose my job? What if she gets a better job? Or there was so much pressure towards the end, I think, convinced somehow that I was going to, at the last minute, take the kids and leave and leave her stranded. Because even the last few weekends, she didn't really want me to have the kids. I got a sense that she was reluctant for them to be with me. I felt like she was somewhat irrational towards the end. My family thought that she might approach me at the airport because she threatened that if I didn't sign it before I left, she would have a court order to force me to sign it. And my attorney said that there's no such thing. You can't be forced to sign this. Don't worry. But I just had this fear that maybe she would show up at the airport or tell my boss what had happened, ruin my job. But none of that happened. I didn't see the kids the day I left. I said goodbye the night before, and it was fine. I was sad. I made it through, but I was so busy. Maybe that distraction was helping. I think it was only just as I moved into this apartment, as I mentioned, as I started to go through these boxes of photos and pictures, that I'm remembering things and feeling bad about it. But also, I haven't been so great at maintaining that connection with the kids. It's difficult. The time zone makes a big difference. By the time they're home from school, it's kind of late for me. I'm tired. I don't feel sometimes like talking. I reach out to them. I text them a lot. I invite them to call me. They never do. If I call them, they'll answer. One time, though, I called. He was in the living room, and he was speaking to me, and I got very upset because she said it hurt her to hear my voice and to hear me sound happy. And I think it maybe scared them. They don't want to talk to me. She said, when you call, have them go to their room, which is fine. So when I call, if mom's there, they go away. And this morning, I decided, this idea that I would talk to at least before she went to school. I did that a couple times, but this morning, before she went to school, I FaceTimed her from work. It was perfect. We were both in a good mood somehow. I was wide awake and she was happy. And maybe I'll try to do that more. But I'm worried about the connection. I don't feel it's hard. I'm not doing a great job at that. I surprised myself when I first came here. I was happy. But now, more recently, yeah. And I feel more like did I make a mistake? As I get disconnected from my kids, I didn't foresee this style, of course. And I keep thinking, I wish I knew. There's some dream about being with it's not the reality either. And I feel like I want to be, I don't know. It's part of me wants to be close to in that way, but now she's not texting me at all. So most poignant for her around Halloween, because maybe that's the first sort of holiday that has come up where I'm not around. Yeah, I think that's when she got really upset. Didn't see the kids in their costumes. I saw it on Facebook a couple of days later, but they didn't. The kids weren't excited to show me what they were dressing up as. It was like they don't seem like they missed me either.
In the next episode, we'll hear from Kevin after a few more months have passed. It'll be the beginning of a new year. He'll talk about spending Christmas with his children, some significant news he learns about his wife, and tensions with his new partner over issues related to his children. I'm Tim Tedder, creator of affairhealing.com. Thank you for listening.